Week 162. I'm not in my usual studio, the raccoon den. I'm still in the raccoon den, just in another room. Honestly, getting a little bored of these updates, so I've got to change a few things up. But welcome to week 162, the more casual version of the market report, where it's a big week in the United States this week. You've got the CPI announcement, inflation numbers, you've got monetary policy information, all kinds of stuff coming out of the US this week, starting tomorrow right through until Friday. So basically, we'll know what the next few months look like here in Canada once we see some of those numbers come out. And again, the laziest thing that an agent can say is, oh, we don't have a crystal ball, blah blah blah. That is lazy. Like, it's time for real estate agents and people that are helping handle one of the biggest transactions most people will ever undertake with a little bit more respect. It's time that realtors learn more about economics beyond supply and demand. It's been a mission of mine for the past year to become more knowledgeable about this stuff, and the more I learn about it, the more I understand what's going on beyond the borders of our awesome little city here, the better I can help my clients make strong buying and selling decisions without panicking. And that's the beautiful thing out there right now, is nobody is panicking. In fact, the exact opposite. For the second week in a row, we've had a pretty serious pullback in the number of listings available for sale. So like, if you're a house buyer right now, like, you are in competition the majority of the time. And this is a broken record. I've said this for the past few weeks. And if you don't understand that the market is in the seller's favor right now and you're still expecting some sort of deal scenario out there, I don't know, maybe one day you'll change your mind or you won't. I really don't care. But our smart clients right now are still making smart purchasing decisions, but some of them are choosing to liquidate some of their older assets that would have had trouble selling prior to December, but they're selling them now because there's so few listings available for buyers to pick from condos to houses, that some of that older product is now actually moving, and it's moving a lot better than it was before December. So now is an awesome time for smart investors to consider liquidating some older assets. Do you have a condo maybe that's in its 10th or more year of occupancy now? It's time to consider flipping that asset into a newer one, especially when you can take advantage of some deals in the assignment market. And in assignments right now, there aren't as many deals as there were prior to January. Before January, we were picking up assignments for even less than the original purchase price. And if you're not familiar with what an assignment is, just Google assignments, the spring team, and a blog will come up. If I can find a way to link it here, I will. But in general, it is very much a market in favor of sellers right now, and it shouldn't be a surprise to you, especially if you've been following this the Real Estate Raccoons blog. It's a very obvious seller's market right now, and it's becoming one in the condo world as well, where we've had a serious pullback in the number of quality listings. There are still some condos that I did expect to sell relatively quickly that didn't. Like, there's an awesome live work space in Leslieville on Carlaw right now that's still not sold, and it's actually a pretty great price. So I also noticed that there's a microphone in my beard. Yeah, that's what that is. But you know what? It is what it is. It works. So anyway, so this is week 162. We've got a lot of interesting things happening out there. There seems to be a lot of certainty in the mind of the buyer that there is going to be relatively calm, vibes in the interest rate world, meaning many buyers are making purchasing decisions today with the firm belief that the bottom of the market is behind us. And, I feel comfortable putting those words in some buyers' mouths, mainly because that's when they're speaking with their actions. Buyers during a time of economic uncertainty, which is generally a better time to be a buyer, when we were saying that there were great opportunities that were available in the market prior to December, especially around October, when I noticed things really sitting for a long time. But what didn't happen at that time? Stuff was not selling, but guess what wasn't happening? Listings weren't piling on, creating this imbalance in supply and demand. So, and that's not happening now either. Every single new listing that gets put on the market is being absorbed relatively quickly. So I don't even know why I even got on this. Oh, yes, of course. We're talking about traditionally or historically, it's been a better time to buy when nobody else is. But nobody's buying because of the uncertainty that existed at the time when we had interest rates start to increase in March, April, June, July, like it just kept going. You didn't know when that was going to stop. But actually, when you pay attention to what's happening in other markets around the world, you kind of did see a window, or we saw a window, which is why we started talking about it. Like that window of opportunity is now firmly closed. Will it open again? For sure. We have our markets ebbing and flowing all of the time. When? That's a very good question. My opinion is after a prolonged period of buying activity and sellers just constantly attracting multiple offers and getting big numbers, buyers get tired. They start to dig into the summer. They stop coming out. Showings come down, offers come down. You see some realtors talking about they see a slowdown coming. And you really want to be paying attention to the active realtors. Who are you listening to and where are you getting your information from? Ask them this. Are they a team leader? Or if they're not a team leader, how many transactions do they witness every single week? Because a lot of these people that are very comfortable giving their opinion on the market aren't actively trading in the market every single day. They're just using sound bites and quotes to get the attention that they are craving. So there's a lot of misinformation out there from people that are trying to scare you into thinking that people like me are just trying to get you to make decisions that are in my favor by saying you can't day trade real estate or now is a good time to buy. I am an asshole because I'm telling you to do something that's in my interest, not yours. But when you look at the nuance of that conversation, there's a lot more that goes into a now is a good time to buy conversation, depending on who that buyer is. So hopefully you understand that, and hopefully you are confident enough and able to actually ask the people you're getting the information from how many real estate transactions they're actually part of in any given week, any given day, any given month. Honestly, if you're curious and you don't want to ask them, just ask me and I'll pull up their numbers for you. I can do that. So anyway, long story short, there's a lot of information out there with very little context. So hopefully you found some value in the context here. Like 3 years ago, I was in a position where I had a choice to make. I could contribute to the frenzy that was in the market, or I could slow down, look at the data, and provide some context. If you were one of those people that read my initial blog in March of 2020, where I kind of mapped out what I thought was going to happen in the future of Toronto real estate, I was bang on about every single step of the way. The one thing that I was less clear about was that inflation would become such a dominant force in our economy. Knowing what I know now, obviously I should have seen that coming. And had I added that one little a bit of context, that would have been probably a work of art blog post. I'll link it down below so you can read it if you're watching this on YouTube. But there we do have the ability to see a little bit into the future. I don't have the ability to see into the mind of the buyer, but understanding how buyers generally are, understanding psychology, we can start to see some patterns, which is why this weekly reporting is super important. So right now, the pattern that we're seeing week over week for 6 weeks in a row now, we are seeing increased buyer activity every single week to the point now where we've had 4 weeks in a row of more than 100 condo sales in a week. These are numbers we haven't seen since before interest rates started coming up. So same level of activity pre-interest rate hikes when money was essentially free, but with quadruple the interest rate. So buyers are buying, they're comfortable in their finances. They have the certainty now that they believe that the bottom of the market is behind us. Whether that's true or not is yet to be seen. I firmly believe that the bottom of the market is behind us. I believe that we are going to be heading into a recession that we were trying to avoid. But all of this economic stimulus that comes with the talk of reducing interest rates and stuff like that will just contribute to more inflation. And right now we won't see the effects of what we talked about last week, which is the cutting of oil production globally. And we won't see the effects of that for a little while because that's the cutting starts in May. So we'll see how inflation is affected as we head into the summer months as gas prices and energy costs have to adjust because most likely, when you make less of something, the demand doesn't really change. It's going to cost more. It's that global manipulation of these things that kind of are feed into that everything is bullshit kind of philosophy that I have, in a sense where it doesn't really matter, like everything is manipulated, everything is controlled. So just live your life and move forward and do what's best for you and do your best to help other people and not focus so much on like, what this government is doing and what that government is doing. Like, honestly, there's very little of that you're going to be able to influence, or at least that's my opinion. I'd rather influence my little world here. So anyway, I believe that there is going to be a bit of a lull this summer, and I believe that if you are a seller, you should be on the market right now or very soon. It's why I made a decision to sell our house and move on from our place, because it's a good opportunity for us to take advantage, put some money in the bank, make some other investments, and kind of move our family forward. Great time for that. Flip older assets into newer assets that are a little bit more depressed still. There's good activity in the commercial space. Retail spots are getting snapped up. There is employment being created by a lot of smaller employers, despite some cutbacks in the tech sector from a lot of these larger employers who have created an obscene amount of jobs over the past 3 years, by the way. So what they're cutting is a drop in the bucket to what they've created. So overall, there's very little drama out there. There's a lot of certainty in the minds of the buyer, and there's really a lot of good things happening out there. Another great thing happening out there is the Jays are starting up now, so we get to go to see some Jays games in the newly renovated space. A lot of positivity out there in Toronto, and I really see a heated market right through until June. And then after June, things will probably slow down a little bit, and then we'll head into the fall market, because what happens in Toronto when things slow down? Sellers don't pile on. So unless there's a massive cutting of jobs, of high-paying jobs, and people can't afford to keep their homes, and remember, there's going to be a lag to that too. If there are already major jobs cut, there's going to be a 6-month lag. Like, most people aren't paycheck to paycheck. So it's a pretty good space, Toronto, right now. And there's a lot of good things happening here. And there's no reason to be pessimistic, and every reason to be optimistic always here. There are some neighborhoods that are performing better than others, but in general, all neighborhoods are performing quite well at the moment. So I'm going to keep this one very short because, I can, and I've got to think of ways to make this more engaging, more exciting, because right now I'm kind of bored of doing these market reports. So like, what do you want to hear? What do you want to see? Let me know. I think I had a great suggestion yesterday to talk about very specific properties more rather than this kind of macro look at the market. I think I was quite repetitive today. But, I think I need to make a change of some sort. I have made a decision that I'm not going to stop doing this market report, but I might make it exclusive to a certain group of people for a little while, like just my team. I don't know. I got so many thoughts around this, but I'm open to hearing yours. Like, how do I get this to the point where it actually matters? It mattered when I first started it in 2020, March, doing this weekly for 162 weeks. But I feel like this matters less now. Do people still care about what I'm talking about? I care about what I'm talking about. It makes me feel really good to be able to understand the market at this level, where very few agents, very few, even economists and professionals, understand it at this level. So I need to find a way to extract that information in a better way. Maybe I have to learn how to tell stories better. But I am totally open to your advice. So hopefully you found some value here. Please, please subscribe. It means the world to me. If I can get to 500 subscribers by the end of the month, I would be the happiest guy in the world. And please reach out. We're looking to hire agents. We're looking to hire staff. We're a growing team right now. We're expanding into another market and 3 other ones after that. So there's a lot of good stuff happening with the spring team right now in the Real Estate Raccoons. And thanks for being along for the ride, but I'm not going to stop it. I'm going to change it though. So I will see y'all soon. Have a great Tuesday.